Well, the economic survey, which has just come out, it does paint a very gloomy, a bleak picture of the Pakistan economy. One example of that is that GDP growth in this year concluding was only 0.29%, which is just very, very low. And just to make your audience understand, when the GDP growth is that low, it basically means that Pakistan not only is not decreasing its debt to GDP ratio, which is something that we need to decrease in order to get more fiscal space, in order to invest in human capital, but it also means that there is almost negligible job creation. And just to give you an idea, almost 2 million young men and women enter the labor force every year in Pakistan. In order to provide jobs for these 2 million new entrants into the labor force every year, the economy needs to grow around 7% each year. So you can have an idea that what is the situation with job creation. And this is a very big problem for a young country, because our median age is 20.2 years, which basically means that almost 120 to 130 million people are below the age of 20 in this country. So you can see what a huge crisis this is for Pakistan, not being able to grow. Now, having said this, I would be remiss if I did not mention the fact that we have to understand these very abysmal economic numbers within the bigger context of the ongoing poly crisis in Pakistan. And I think if you just look at the economic numbers, you will see doom and gloom. But you have to understand that Pakistan has gone through an unprecedented, once in a generation poly crisis, where multiple crises impacted Pakistan. They reinforced one another and almost took the system towards complete implosion. I mean, now I'm talking about political chaos, I'm talking about the economic crisis, I'm talking about the security crisis, and finally the super floods from last year. So all these things combined, I think these have mitigated against economic growth. Still, the numbers are very low, and I think the government, or whichever government is in power after the upcoming election, I think they're going to have to do way better than 0.29% per year. So next year, I think, is conditional on a number of things. You know, the economic growth, or the economic challenges becoming less acute, depends on a number of things. Number one has to do with whether Pakistan is able to sign on the dotted line with the IMF or not. I think all of a sudden the government has started making the right noises. So I'm again hopeful that somehow Pakistan is going to be able to snatch a deal out of the jaws of the IMF. I'm really hopeful for that. I think if that happens, you will see tangible stabilization in the economy, because not only is the IMF going to give you money, the IMF entering into a deal with a country like Pakistan is taken as a sign of economic health, and that opens up a lot of other avenues of financing for Pakistan. And you may want to recall that Pakistan is going to need substantial sources of financing for next year. I mean, that number is anywhere. So even if we assume that the current account deficit grounds to zero next year, we are still going to need anywhere from 22 to 24 billion dollars, and that is not going to be easy without IMF's confidence that they repose in us by letting Pakistan sign on the dotted line. So I think I'm hoping for that to happen. I'm also hoping for Pakistan to put its fiscal house in order, which is going to enable Pakistan to generate more revenues, which is going to give us more space to spend on the Benazir Income Support Program, which is a flagship program in Pakistan. It is also going to assist Pakistan in investing more on our people in terms of health, education, clean drinking water. These are very important things. So, like I said, what happens with the IMF is going to change a lot of things.